Hey guys, welcome back to the land of the Pharaohs. I'm Sajuuk. Today we're going to be heading on to South Dahshur, the alternative mission from Buhen. The previous part we did Buhen, of course. If you want to look at it, you can look back in the playlist and all that. So we are going to be building a new kind of pyramid at South Dahshur in the age of pyramids.
Our new Pharaoh, Snofru, is determined that this, the fourth dynasty, be remembered as the greatest ever to rule Egypt. His architects have contrived a tomb even more spectacular than the stepped pyramid of Huni, and Pharaoh wishes you to oversee its construction. You will need to establish a fair-sized settlement south of Dahshur, the site for Pharaoh's bent pyramid. Once in place, this city will provide the workforce necessary to complete this ambitious project. The bent pyramid is to be constructed of a plain stone core and faced with fine white limestone, that it may forever shine under the desert sun. You will find sufficient quantities of limestone at Dahshur, but you'll need to import the necessary amount of plain stone for this undertaking. Pharaoh wishes that our borders be pushed even further south, and to this end he has dispatched military forces to invade Nubia and to establish a fortified city at Buhen beside the second cataract of the Nile. To the north, Egypt has opened relations with Nkomi on the island of Cyprus. This land is named for its abundant reserves of copper ore, which are now a major import. Precious gemstones may be obtained from a recently established Egyptian outpost at Serabit Kadim in the land of Sinai. Lately, the supply has become erratic, however, due to unrelenting Bedouin and Canaanite attacks against the settlement, and we are uncertain how much longer the Egyptian forces stationed there can withstand them.
Well, I could tell you exactly what's going to happen, but we're going to find out later. So this is South Dahshur, Snofru's bent pyramid. Population of 3,500, some fairly modest ratings. He had a monument rating of 21, so there's only one monument. This first bit is pretty much unique to this mission. The rest of this was just copied from Buhen. So obviously, as this is played as an alternate mission, someone's going off to attack Buhen, blah blah blah. And Nkomi is open, but we're not going to be getting any copper. This is not a military mission. So we're continuing on hard mode. Let's proceed to the city. And slow time right down and pause and have a look around at what we've got here. So we've got clearly a very arid landscape, a bit of farmland right there. Up in the north here we've got some floodplain. That's actually quite a lot. What can we grow? Grain and barley, that's going to be useful, but that's not a lot of floodplain. We've got, 3,500 people to feed. That's going to be a lot of food on there. We're not going to get much barley on it because it's not a lot. It's what I would call mediocre. There's just enough, but not enough. Bit of meadowland over here, that's very useful, but this is a lot of desert. And you can see here that there's no military structures, so there's no invasions on this mission, which is good. We don't need to import copper, which will help a lot. It just simplifies anything. We don't have to trade with Nkomi, they're not even a trade route. Serabit Kadim sells copper, which we can't have any use for, so that's pretty much a worthless trade route, because we can make jewellery. Let's see, does anyone else sell gems? Yeah, I can get gems from Abu, but no one buys luxury goods, it's completely pointless. There must be something for that, no. Burial provisions are just 32 blocks of granite, so jewellery is completely useless, we do not need gems. Unfortunately, we look at our raw materials, the only raw material we have is limestone. So it's just like Buhen, this is like a mirror image of Buhen. Got a food type in barley, limestone, and that's it. We don't have gold mines this time. Unfortunately, all the limestone is on this side of the Nile, so we have to cross, whether we like it or not. And if we look at this coastline, it's very, very shit. There's only like 1, 2, 3, 4 places to put a dock. That's it. The docks all have to be on this side, so any limestone exports that we might want to do, because we can sell 40 blocks of limestone to Maydoom, which will be a good supplement. Now, I do know that the trade route to Serabit Kadim closes eventually. I'll explain more when we get to it. So Maydoom pretty much sells us everything we're going to need: clay, wood, and reeds. They buy some beer, not a lot, that's a cheap trade route though. They buy linen and limestone, so we can make beer and limestone, from that. What does Abu sell? They sell flax, so we can do an import-export. Because our housing is limited, we can only go up to common residence because there's only one food type here. We can just make linen as an import-export. It'll use up some workers. Problem with this map is that unemployment gets out of control pretty quickly. Salima Oasis also sells wood, that's a lot, so we can get pretty much all the wood we need from 2 trade routes. We can sell beer, well, pottery, beer, linen and papyrus to Salima Oasis, and we can import the clay, reeds and flax from our other 2 trade partners, so we only need 3 trade partners to win, but they all have to be open. We don't actually specifically need Salima, but because we can only get a small amount of beer sold a year, we're going to require them. Gods are Osiris, Ra, and Ptah, so we can increase trade if we can with Ra, he gives us that blessing. Ptah must be our patron, which is good. Osiris will help because the flooding quality on this one's average as well, it's not very good. Going through a bit of a dry spell. So I'm thinking of having housing blocks up here near this floodplain, and all my industry down this sort of area here. I'm not sure about how to go about this mission. I do know where I want to put the ferry landing. I want to put it either here or here. Now if I put it down here, it'll use up 1 dock space. So maybe putting it here is better because I can have a dock right there and have like 2 docks around this central distribution area. So because we have to import clay, and the other thing is, we've got to import clay to make pottery to level our houses up, but unfortunately Maydoom is the only source of plain stone that we have. So we've got to make sure that Maydoom is selling maximum plain stone. Now there are some requests which will mean that we don't have to import so much plain stone from Maydoom. It's a medium bed pyramid. This is the only mission where you get to build it, unless you're playing custom missions obviously. I will probably try to build it somewhere, I'm not sure where, but not a lot of space. We're going to need pretty much every drop of farmland. All of this is going to be grain. We're just going to farm grain on the floodplain and barley on these meadowlands because there's a lot of barley production to be found on this one. This bit is actually quite rich looking by the map. But of course we're going to have feeder housing whether we like it or not because of where the rocks are. Unless I squeeze in a tiny little zigzag line block, which I don't think I'm going to do. We start with 10,000, which is good, but we have to get into exports straight away. We don't have the luxury of Burheim where we had gold mines, so we have to get into our beer industry straight off. So I think that's going to be a good plan. I'm going to go and plan out some housing blocks, or a housing block, somewhere, I'm not sure where, and I'll come back in once I've planned out the city. Okay, so we've got the cities basically set up. We're going to have 1 block here, and another block just about here. And down here I've set up a bit of a barley production area. These are not working yet. Now, you can see here that I've got the houses placed so that these industries here are on this little tiny little space here. But because these don't burn, so they don't actually need these guys walking up and down this area unless I start putting things there. But these guys can just walk up, touch the houses, come back, and they'll get their employment without any problems. Now, right here, in this space is going to be basically our beer and industrial stuff. And because we want trade to go by fairly quickly. Now if I do put a dock here, I will move a firehouse over to this side and such. Only when necessary though. And this little space could be maybe a little bit of a papyrus industry if we need it. Now the good thing about this map is there's no reeds, so there's no malaria risk. And eventually when we get rid of this court, we put the courthouse down, we don't need this, so that'll help a lot. So we get everyone moving in. I put down these houses first, then these ones, and then this one here. So we're going to get our exports going fairly quickly. We can only sell a small amount of beer to Maydoom and Salima, only 3,000 beer, which is kind of annoying. Now I do want to get a grain industry going as well, because I do know that there are some requests for grain on this map. And I want to get that started fairly soon. And we can set that up sort of around this area here. We can have a few grain farms. In fact, let's just put down 3 grain farms for now. Just roadblock. Like that. So we get our people moving in. We're going to get our unemployment under control. We'll start helping the gods as well by putting down some shrines and such. But I want to get everything going first. Can I put a well right there? I can. We'll level that up. So these are 42% fertile, 45, 53. They're not going to be as fertile as the floodplain, obviously, but they'll be as fertile as they can. Let's see, can we get a... We can put down 2 there. For now that can just be connected over like this. Don't think we're going to need straw. I mean, we can make bricks, but no one buys them. So there's no use to make bricks on this map, so we're just going to turn off straw. Okay, so what we're going to do is let this run. I'm going to come back in once we start to get our first grain and barley getting harvested to make our first export. Okay, so we're starting to get the city going. We do need some employees. That's because I've just been sort of building houses and not really controlling the unemployed. But we do have a little bit of grain, just in case Pharaoh asks for it. We also got enough barley out of this harvest to start staffing some breweries here. I did put down a couple of shrines just to make sure these weren't having any negative effects. And we've got 500 people, that's good. Now, floods on this one are fairly average. I mean, let's see how much this covers up. See, it doesn't cover up most of it, so see these farms here, these would be really badly irrigated. And there was also a farm on the edge here which didn't seem to be irrigated. I don't know why, because it said it was right next to one, but it didn't seem to be acting as if it was. We're going to get 200, 400 beer,
No one can
with maybe another 100 after that, I'm not too sure.
Okay.
So get our city going, we're running out of cash here. Now the good thing is that this Maydoom trade route is very cheap, as is the Salima Oasis, so we only need about 1200 Debens, plus the dock price as well, to get our beer exports going. Now we're going to try and get that done for the next year, because we're not going to get it done this year. 12% unemployment, that's perfect. Let's start expanding our barley production. Let's put down 2 more farms. Can't get one in there, no, because that's off the flood, off the land there. We're going to try and get as many as I can in here. I'm not too sure. If needed, what I'll do is if I want to get like 1, 2, 3... If I want to get another one here, I just have to move all of them over a bit and then put a road around the back, which works. But I'll think about that later if I need to start maximising barley production. Let's see, 7% unemployment, more people willing to come in. Let's put down another brewery. I really want this going quite well. So we've still got quite a bit of money. And we're being a bit more conservative, obviously, because we don't have the funds. I do want to get money because I know that Serbit Kadim is going to start asking for money. Although it doesn't really affect anything if it has money or not. So that's 144, so we'll get 500 beer out of this. After the next harvest, I will open up the trade route to Maydoom and start selling it. And we may get some more grain that we can start feeding the people. Okay, so we're going to continue this, and I'll come back in once we start to sell our first beer, or maybe start making our first beer and we're ready to open up the trade route to Maydoom. Okay, so we're starting to get quite an amount of barley here. I managed to expand our barley farms. And this one right here, 98% fertile with this irrigation ditch right there. So that's good. It'll help a lot. So we're going to start producing beer at a quick rate because we've got plenty of people in the city. I mean, we just went a bit short there because we went a bit overboard with it, but that's fine. You can see I've also expanded my grain production. This farm right on the end, unless I move the roads around, this one won't be irrigated, but it's fine because it's right on the edge of the Nile. Now we are slowly running out of cash here with no source of income. Now of course there are rescue funds, but I don't really want to rely on them because I don't think that's the right strategy. So we're going to put another, well I suppose these 2 work camps can do for now. So we've got 800 beer. Once we get this to 1200 I'll open up the trade route to Maydoom. So we just speed this up. We should get that fairly shortly. We're short by quite a number of people, so that's not too good. Just going to delete that road there. I don't want them spawning it in a weird way. We're going to put down the granary here. As you can see, the only food type is grain, so it doesn't matter. Once this harvest comes in, we'll be able to stockpile a large amount of grain to feed our people. Here comes basically the supply of beer for this year. So let's just... Is any of these ready to produce? Yes, they are. Okay, so let's open up the trade route to Maydoom. Cheap as heck. And we're just going to sell all the beer that we have. There we go. If I need more grain deposit, I can just put another yard right here to get it. Because there's going to be another block in here, and it should be within range of any yards down here. So there we go, we've got 1300 beer. Trade comes from the south. They're going to come up and buy all of that beer, keeping us out of debt. So we've got, what's this, 1400 beer, that's a lot. If we can max out Maydoom, there's a bug where they'll buy 1100 each time, so we can actually get up to 2200 and it counts, so that'll be good. We won't be able to do it this time round, but maybe next time. because they're all going to go and buy all beer. 1100, there we go, plenty of cash, that's good. And our next harvest is about to come in too. Well, the gods, like, they're all approving, that's good. Let's give Ptah a shrine. Okay, there we go, a request. To satisfy citizens' needs, the city of Senbakadi requests that I send 500 D-bids in 12 months. We're actually going to pay them 500 Ds because we've got plenty of cash. Now, the unfortunate thing is it does not matter whether I fulfill these requests or not. They go up they double every time. And eventually the trade route shuts down. So it really does not matter. I will show you the trade shutdown and all these additional other requests. But for now, we're just going to pay that off. And get money back from selling beer. Here comes the next barley harvest, which will help. We'll just put that shrine right there. Keeping Ptah nice and happy, don't let him get too upset. Okay, so we're going to keep on going, and I'm just going to keep selling beer, and once the next harvest comes in, which it is, and once we've got enough grain, we'll start to feed our people. Okay, so the city's progressing quite well. We're still selling beer best as we can. Over here, I've set up a couple of limestone quarries. Because we don't have the workers, I have turned that industry off. I just want to focus on money-making ventures at this point. And we can see we're evolving these houses into rough cottages. Sees that the desirability of these houses are still being affected even with these statues. How much space do we have to hold? 187, that's quite a lot. Employees needed, that's not too bad. That's because some of these buildings just turned online there. Hopefully we get enough. How much barley we got left? 130, so basically 100 units left. What's this? August is going to be the next harvest. Let's put down another barley farm right there. What's that? One more right there. Okay. I'm not sure. I might move these up a little bit later if I need to. I want to basically make it that all of the meadowland is barley and all of the floodplain is grain. Of course, there's not much space. I mean, we've used up all this and we're producing pretty much all we can at this point. You can see here I've also put down another firehouse. We don't really need very many of these little one-tile buildings because, I mean, there's no culture ratings, so it's not like we need to provide dentists to anyone. There's no need to evolve the housing that high because there's only schools and library, which is useless. So yeah, we don't really need to do too much in terms of giving services. I want to get these up to at least space department, then they won't have such a high fire risk, and at least we don't have so many problems with workers. But for now, it's just a case of slowly evolving and getting more workers into the city and keeping them employed so we can keep producing beer. We do need to produce more money though. Medium's already bought out and it's only mid-year, so we don't have any way of getting any more cash unless we open up the trade route to Salima Oasis. Or if I start selling grain pointlessly when I don't have a supply of that to sell. God's all happy. I did put down a shrine wall right here, which is helping to keep them all nice and happy, and it'll keep them happy for quite a while. Even when we start breaking through 1,000 people. Maybe I need to develop another block, but I don't have the cash for that right now. Okay, we're still producing beer. If I'll have a large supply developing and I've got the cash, I will open up the trade route to Salima Oasis, start selling more of that. Or maybe I start importing clay and selling pottery. We may do that. Or maybe I just go out and build out the monument location where I want it. Let's just speed this up. 1,000 people in the city, so we're nearly there. The problem is, of course, we've got such a low amount of requirements, but the population is so high. It's not like Saqqara, for example, where we had 3,500 people, but we had a meeting to increase it up quite high because we had the ability to get up to fancy residence, basically. But here, we're pretty limited. So we're just going to keep on going, and if I need to, I'll just open up the trade route to Salima Oasis and sell off more beer. Well, good timing. To supplement its estate stocks, Matches Pharaoh wants me to send 1,000 baskets of grain to men effort in 2 years, so we've got plenty, so we're just going to send that off. And we're actually going to put down some yards to accept plainstone. I do know what that request gives up. Let us put down... What we're going to do is, I know where the block's going, so that's... if that's straight on there, that's going to go up 1, 2, 3, so I just need to do... If that was the bottom, 1, 2, 3, so that's going to go there. or thereabouts. So we can just put down, because the monument is going to go right there. So along this bottom bit here, we're going to put down that, and we're going to put down 2 of these, and you 2 are going to accept nothing but plain stone for now. You can see here I've pretty much expanded all of our barley production, maxing out every bit of this as we can. Unfortunately we are running short of workers. Since we've stockpiled quite a bit of limestone, we're going to just sell all of it. It's at 300, so the export to the maintain thing, basically the overseer decides how much you need based on what the city requires, and because the city requires limestone for the monument, it's set up really high. Yeah, some of these are now starting to fail to work very well. You've sold all the max on there. 1100. Not enough beer to supply selling to Salima now, we've run out really. But a few of you are going to start producing some beer, that's good. Now since all that limestone is now produced, we're going to turn off the limestone and just show we don't need it. And all this can be sold for a little bit of profit. Meagre as it will be. Now that we're starting to evolve these houses, it'll help. 42 more people. I suppose I could just provide a pavilion right there. And you can get access to entertainment. Prosperity is not that high, considering we can get it up by just selling more beer. Okay, so we're just going to keep this going. It's essentially just continually to build the city while preventing ourselves from going into debt. I know I can take rescue funds, I don't want to do that. I might expand our barley production because we are short on barley. I think we're not producing as much as I'd like. I'll see how much that flows through the system. And I'll come back in a bit later once there's something interesting to show. Oh dear, more money. There seems to be no end to this, for the city of Serbit Kadir requests 1,000 demons in 12 months. Now we don't have that much, so we're going to postpone that for as long as I can. Because we've only got 2,300, we're up at nearly 5,000 from all the sales, and we're starting to import some clay to make pottery, just to use up some unemployment. I mean, it's 6 workers unemployed with no percent, but earlier it was like 16% or something crazy. So I've also managed to move pretty much everything here, so we've got all the farms we can get on this southern landmass. We're not going to be building any more farms, so if I need more grain, that's what this is for, but I don't think I'm going to need it. I mean, with all this, we're producing pretty much all the beer we need and we can't use it all up quickly enough. Which is fine. All these houses are evolving, and with the pottery I can also use it to evolve this house so I can get it out of this high risk burning stage essentially. Next flood's not going to happen, so this harvest has got to last. If I just put down, is that a grain farm there? So let's just do 2, 3. I mean, if I put that there, that's fine, but then it won't be accessible on the floodplain. Let's just do that. Just do that. Somewhat, yeah, that'll do. And then we can just do... That's for later, that's fine. So just put an irrigation ditch all the way along here, just get it touching some of the corners. This should be irrigated, it is by range basically. So we've got all the farms on this side of the floodplain. If I need more floodplain space, there's more on this side. I'm not going to connect these up just yet, we don't need to do that right now. And since we've got some money coming in, because the year just reset, you've not bought anything, you've bought all the beer you can.
I don't know why we came.
At least, you're going off to buy limestone, which you're not doing anything with, never mind. Since we've got all the beer sold, let's just give in to that request for money. And we'll make up the next, for the next request later. I've got bizarre ladies teleporting again. If I have to, I just switch these round, it's fine. There's plenty of grain in the supply. Just put that there. Okay, so we're just going to keep on going, and I'll come back in if anything of importance happens. Oh, an interesting request this. To honour the glory of Egypt, Maidroom wants 32 blocks of limestone in 2 years for a major construction project in the city. So, we've basically got 2 years to fill a yard, basically, which we've done. So, we can just send that off. You just noticed that I held a festival. I held one in favour of Ra. see if we can bless trade quotas, because there's no way that I can sustain a city on just tiny amounts of exports. I mean, we've maxed out all of our exports already. I mean, the only other exports require me to import raw materials, mainly clay from Meidum, flax from Abu here, and reeds from Meidum as well, and that allows me to produce pottery and papyrus and linen, which I can sell in rather large quantities. I can sell 4,000 linen a year. I can sell 4,000 papyrus in a year, and I can sell 3,000 pottery in a year. So that's quite a lot, but there's not much in the way of imports. And the problem is that if you look here, Meidum sells clay, reeds, and plainstone. They also sell wood, which is not very helpful, which is a lot of trade that's coming from Meidum, and we want to make sure that plainstone is the most effective. If plainstone is affected, it's just going to slow down monument production, which we don't want, because it means we're going to be stuck here for longer than necessary. What we can do is start making work on our medium bent pyramid. Do I want to... I'll figure it out later, it's not a big deal right now. First of all, I just need to boost the coffers. And I'm also going to have to boost workers as well, which we can do by providing pottery. That's going to be pretty much all the pottery we can produce for now. We can actually start importing clay again, I think. Let's just provide pottery to this block and get them going. And yeah, so what we're going to do is we're just going to keep on going, and I'll come back in if anything of interest happens. Well, this is kind of useful. To try to cut costs, wages have fallen throughout the Kingdom of Egypt. That actually helps when it's more than just one, but that's okay. We're sort of running into a bit of a problem. The last flood was shit. Okay, there was no flood. The next flood is also going to be no flood. So we're going to have 2 consecutive years of no flood unless I can get Osiris to help. So I've thrown a festival to him to try and get his blessing. Ra gave me a completely useless blessing of boosting kingdom rating, which I don't need when there's continual requests throughout the mission. I really want him to improve trade quotas, because at this point we're sort of limited by how much we can sell. I mean, pretty much in the space of the first 3 months we can sell out the entire beer supply to our trade partners, which... So here comes the 2 trade partners for Selima. They're going to max out. That's gone off home selling all of our beer, so... because you helped Major complete its project, that's fine, and we get 64 blocks of plainstone because of it. And we've got a festival, that's good. So we've got some blocks of plainstone here, pardon me. We're going to sell the entire supply of beer very shortly to Selima here. They've got 800, we'll just speed this up. There we go, that's just maxed out beer to there. And we're just shortly about to max out beer again. So basically at this point, I have no way of essentially boost. I need to really boost trade quotas because I can't I've maxed out my beer exports, sorry. I mean, if I could sell more beer, it would help. Unfortunately, that's just going to go off and buy 4, and that's going to wreck everything because they're not going to buy anymore. So that's just basically got all of our money for the year in 4 months. But I can't sell anymore unless I get a trade boost. And at this point, I just want to get on Osiris' good side to get a better flood, because I can't have 2 consecutive no flood years. We've got plenty of food in stockpile, but I could evaporate if I build another housing block. Let's see. And we support 2,800, so just 2,900. That's barely enough. Because if I put another housing block down, that's just going to evaporate our supplies. So at this point I'm just going to keep on going, and I'll come back in if anything of interest happens, hopefully when we get a better flood. Well, this is an interesting request. Matchless Pharaoh wants 1,100 flasks of beer in 2 years. Now we have shit tons of this in stock. Because we just produce so much that we can't sell it all, and Osiris is going to double the quantity of farms on the floodplain. Okay, so although these are pretty shitty farms, I mean, are they even in season? No, they're now in season. So the next harvest is at least going to double the entirely pathetic quality of these farms. The next year is also going to be no flood. So in this mission alone, we have had 3 consecutive no floods. That is terrible. I'm pretty sure that that is scripted on this mission, because all of these farms are just so badly nourished that we're just never... I mean, I would have to expand onto this eventually. So at this point, I really need Osiris to boost flooding quality. I just need a better flood. I can't continue with any more bad floods. I really need a good one before we can continue very far on this mission. We're starting to sell pottery as well, which also helped. I mean, how much did we sell? I don't know, just reset. So I'm just going to try and start importing small quantities of raw resources like reeds and such from Maydoom and start selling the finished goods. Hopefully that'll help. We could put a yard here which is going to accept papyrus and reeds like so. And for now we're not going to provide school access to anyone. We're just going to sell the stuff that we produce. So yeah, I'm just going to keep on going. Hopefully we'll get a better flood next year, and I'll come back in if anything of interest happens. Here's the next request from Serbit Kadim. 2,000 D-bins in 12 months. Well, we have that. Let's just send it off. And you can see here, I'm just sort of trying to expand areas of industry. So down here we're going to have our linen industry, which is only for export. I've held a festival to Osiris now and it's not done anything, which doesn't help. Let's try and boost trade quotas again, because I don't think we're going to get a better flood unless he just happens to give us one. I mean, the last one was just the boosting of everything on the floodplain, which should happen soon. But here I can put down pretty much all of my necessary things. Oh, just deleted a conservatory, that doesn't help. Let's put that out of the way. Let's just put down a conservatory right there. And this juggler can go... I mean, we could just put it there because it doesn't matter which side he spawns at. If he spawns this side, that's fine. He's still covered by the thing, that's fine. Okay, so at this point, really, it's a case of now I need to evolve the housing. So let's just provide beer. We've got way too much of that in stock. We can provide a courthouse, and that will be the maximum level of housing we go for. If I want any more, I'm going to have to expand to another block. So we're just going to keep on going. Hopefully the request from Serbit Kadim stop. I mean, how long have we been playing here for? 5 years? Yeah, just over 5 years. And we're not really in any good shape at all. I mean, we're just getting shitty floods. And we just can't seem to get any more exports going. So we're just going to keep on going. I'll come back in a bit later if anything of interest happens. Well, that's good timing. To acknowledge your respectful attitude, we are going to get more trade. That's just what I wanted. It wasn't that long after I cut it off, but we can now sell basically 2,500 beer to each of these. That's 5,000. We should be able to boost our money very significantly with that. Let's just put down a few cat statues here. Just trying to make sure I can see where they're going. Just boost all of this. Let's just see. There, yeah. And there we go. We're going to get all of these nicely evolving. So there we go. That's the level of housing evolvement on this mission. Unless I cared enough to put down breweries, which I'm... breweries. More scrying skills, which we're not doing because there's no point. Let's put these statues in here. This is still not going to evolve anyway because I'm not providing them with the next level. So if I want more housing, more population, which we are going to need, I'm going to have to build another housing block. Now with this one block, we have basically 1,800. So another block of the same size will push us over 3,600, which is good. So we're just going to keep on going. Hopefully get better floods. I mean, is this in flood? It is. The next flood is going to be mediocre, but that's perfect timing. So yeah, we're just going to keep on going. Maybe I'll go plan out the area for my monument, and I'll come back in a bit later if anything of interest happens. Okay, so another request from Serbit Kadim here. 4,000 D-bins in 12 months. Now we can send that off, like so. And that's actually the end of it. Even if I failed to send off 4,000, it wouldn't make any difference. And over here you can see I put down more farms, because we just can't seem to get enough food out of this site. So I want to make sure there's an absolute oversupply, especially since I'm now starting to feed another block. So we're just going to put down all the usual amenities like so. And just put that down to there. And we're just going to, let's see, 7% unemployment, that's fine. 1, 2, 3. And we'll just put down a police station there. Now it took a bit of time trying to get it all in, but I managed to get it as much as I can. And if I still can't get enough food out of this, I mean, we have enough farms to support 6 fights. If I still can't get enough food out of this, then I've got this meadowland over here, which I don't really want to use. Trade has been boosted, obviously, by Ra, because he's been blessing us, but we're effectively selling out everything. We've sold out all the pottery we can. We've got a nice stockpile of papyrus here. Let's just actually sell that. Since we've got no use for it in the city. Where's Salima Oasis? Are they in the city somewhere? They've just left. Buying 100 pottery there, which is pretty useless, but we'll see if we can start selling out some papyrus as well, just to get rid of it and make more money. Here they come, the next traders anyway. Let's put down, because I've sent 4,000 D-bits to celebrate Kadim, we have become more popular, even though it makes no difference. Here comes the next 2 traders. They're going to buy up all the pottery and such as well. I've just done the wrong statues there. If I didn't have to send off that money, it would be fine, but it's okay. We're going to sell 100 more units of pottery, and then I think, have we done that? No, they're just going to go and buy papyrus because it's worth more. I think we can just stop selling pottery now. We don't need to do that, especially as the stuff's going to be needed in our city. So yeah, we're starting to just continually go on here with these requirements and all that, just try and keep the gods happy. Did put down a few shrines here and there, and what's this? Mendifair wants another 1,000 baskets of grain. Well, we've got plenty of that, there you go, have it. Although we've actually just used up the supply, so we don't have much left. So we're just going to speed this up, make a bunch of money, there we go. Sell off all that papyrus, helps. Could have a mediocre flood, that's okay. This one's actually irrigated, oh, it was for a second. Instead of deleting that, it's not helped. It's irrigated now by having that, okay. So this was a struggle to get in, I can tell you, because it's around the edge of the map. So there's not much more I can put in. I can't put one in there, for example, because it's the map edge. So we've got 24 farms. That's probably as much as we can get on this floodplain. If I want more, I've got to use the landmass. So we're just going to keep on going. We're going to involve these houses as well once we get the money. And yeah, I'll just come back in later when something interesting happens. Okay, so military scouts have terrible news to report. A debilitating siege now strikes at Cerbit Kadim, regardless of me sending off, what was that? 4, 6, 7... 7,500 cash to them, and they're still under siege. So even if you fail to send the money, the trader still goes under siege. It does not matter. Which doesn't help, which means that the trader is now closed, so we're no longer able to sell. We're no longer able to sell grain, and we can no longer import gems, which doesn't help, but that's okay. We have no use for the gems because no one bought luxury goods, and it's not a requirement of the city, and grain surplus is not that much anyway, we couldn't sell it. And it's not worth anything anyway, so it's okay. Making back money selling papyrus, I think we've maxed out that. We sold nearly all the beer. We sold all the papyrus. We've only actually sold 100 papyrus, all that was just beer sales essentially. Can't seem to get any more clay, which doesn't help. We're importing clay and reeds as best as we can here. Yeah. So we're just sort of just plodding along here, just trying to keep the city stable. We've got 8,000 cash, so it's fine. Can just beautify the location without worrying about having to give in to Cerbit Kadim's requests. Seems more like demands to me, but it's okay. I'll apply it at 8%. I think it's time to start working on our monument, so we're just going to go and place it down here. And I don't need to show you how they clear it, because you've seen that before. So this just needs 216 blocks of plainstone and a shit ton of limestone. So we're going to have to boost our quarrying of limestone here, I think. Can I get a limestone quarry in there? No, I can't. So let's just put down more of these. Wherever I can get them, that's probably more than enough. Just have more limestone stockpiling here. And yes, you don't need to see me building the clearing of this. The the main bit, which will be the construction, I'll show later as a time lapse. It's not a very interesting monument, but I might as well because it is a fairly unique monument. It's only built once in the campaign. So we're just going to keep on going, and I'll come back in if anything of interest happens. Okay, so we're at 3,000 people now, which is good. We're just sort of... What's this? Invisible walkers again, which doesn't help. We're just sort of just boosting the city here. I'm just trying to get as many industries down for building the monument. Last flood was okay, although it's not got every farm. Like, some of these farms are pretty bad. But at this point, I'm just sort of boosting the population, trying to support more of the monument building industries. Because I want this to clear fairly quickly. But if it's clearing really slowly, it doesn't help. I've also set up this area for flax, which didn't help with the employment either. So we're going to import flax, 800 flax, and we're just going to stockpile a bunch of linen and then start selling it, which will give us more money. We've got 2 docks, which also helps to speed up trade to try and get things moving a bit quicker here. You sold everything. You see, you're sort of in between clay and reeds now, which doesn't help. I think what I'll do is once I've started to make linen, I'll stop making reed papyrus. And then what we'll do is we'll just sell linen instead rather than trying to sell papyrus, because I don't want Maydoom trying to do everything. If they're doing everything, they're not going to be selling me any plain stone, which we're going to need to build the monument. So yeah, we're just going to keep on going. And I'll come back in later if I have anything interesting to show. And straight away, I don't need to cut back in. I can just tell you that right now, the city of Cerebit Kadim has fallen to our enemies because they're under siege. The price of copper goes way up to by 115 D-bins, so on to the original price. And gems is now worth 98 more than it was. So gems now cost 183 to import, which we can't. And copper is like 355 to import. Now, of course, this doesn't actually carry over into the next mission, so it's okay. Because they just reset. But that's just giving you an idea that there's a siege on in Egypt and we've run out of copper. And it's now much more expensive. Anyway, as I was saying, I'll come back in a bit later if there's anything interesting to show. That's pretty much that main request out of the way. Okay, so we've set up a little bit of a grain installation over here. I had ridiculous amounts of unemployment, and they're still not going away even with this evolution. Now, we have got everything cleared out. The unfortunate problem is we don't seem to get enough plain stone, which is kind of annoying because we need it. Now, I've stopped importing reeds. We're not going to be importing any more reeds. We're not selling papyrus anymore. At this point, we're just going to be getting clay and plain stone only from Maydoom. We don't need wood. We can get that from a land trade route. What we're going to do is we're going to put a carpenter's guild there, literally across from the wood supply, and then everywhere else we're just going to put down stonemason guilds. We'll just put down like a bunch of them here. Wages fall again, which doesn't help. They're just dropping it once, 1 D-bin every time that happens. It's not too big of a deal. Just apply to all this. So we've got pretty much infinite money. Using a word from Zach there. We've got pretty much all the money we need. We don't need any more. We can sell pretty much everything we can. We've got taxes as well. So at this point now, it's just a case of building the monument. It is going to take a while because we need a lot of plain stone coming from Maydoom here, but they're not selling enough. They're selling 800 clay and 4 plainstone blocks, which doesn't actually help. What we can do is actually just put down a yard right here, set to accept plainstone, so just have all of these getting. Like this, which will speed up things immensely. Like so. So we could just have it all dumped here, and then we can make, basically, haste makes waste. So now I'm just going to let you watch the construction of this monument. Okay, the monument's nearly done at this point. Unfortunately, I've just been asked to send barley, which I don't have a stockpile of, which is not very helpful. The plainstone monument part was actually completed very quickly there. What we can do is we can just put down a yard right here, which is going to accept barley. At this point, it's really just a case of just a little bit more limestone. You can see that the monument goes up to a point and then it sort of bends in rather sharply, and that's how the bent pyramid worked. I think the theory behind it is that when they first started building the idea of a pyramid that had a straight peak, their first designs, they had to bend it in, otherwise it would collapse in on itself because they didn't have the right design. But that's okay, we don't worry. They eventually perfect it in actually the next mission. There's barley. Filled up very quickly there. Unfortunately, annoyingly, these requests to mend the fair are not producing surplus gifts of plainstone. Which is actually really annoying, because if that gave me plainstone, it'd be a lot easier, because then I could just not import so much. But it was the mission's one, basically, apart from. So we just speed through this. Wages again going down, which doesn't help. Another 1 dot. Exports and taxes pretty much cover everything that we need from imports. We don't even import that much at all now at this point. I mean, how much do we import? About 3,000 a year, which is not too much. And we're selling off linen and beer, pretty much the only things we make money from on this mission. So, I'll cut ahead to once I have gotten all the limestone into the monument. Okay, so the last bits of limestone are coming in, and down here you can see I put down this temple complex to Ptah because we just have got no way of controlling our unemployment at this point. I mean, we have the population, so I don't need to evolve the housing anymore, and put down other industries is just going to cause problems. So I haven't shown you the temple complex to Ptah before, so let's have a read of what it says. When you build up a temple complex, Ptah speeds the production of many of your city's industries, including gold mines, copper mines, gemstone mines, clay pits, shipwrights, jewelers, and weavers. We don't have any mines, and I think the other stuff is going to be covered in a second. The alternate oracle in Ptah's temple complex hasten the output of other industries and improve educators' abilities. So, if you have a city that requires a lot of high-level housing, Ptah's temple complex could be useful. Quite often it's not. Honoured by your attention, Amon the altar spurs quarries, woodcutters and brickworks to work more quickly. Unless you have a shit ton of quarries in your mission, which is very rare, unless you have a shit ton of quarries needed, this is useless essentially, because you don't, and same with brickworks. Very often this is not very useful and you can't build it anyway, for those missions where you need a lot of output. And woodcutters produce so quickly anyway, it doesn't matter. Thoth's goal is the Oracle of Thoth, I think that is, yeah it is to bring the light of learning to as many people as possible. When you build an Oracle of Thoth, librarians and teachers use less papyrus to educate the city's inhabitants. So unless you have a really small amount of papyrus available, and your population requires you to provide papyrus, again this is pretty useless as well, because I mean on very hard I would say yes, build this because it's going to probably help, but apart from that, don't bother with this. You could probably find something else to use. I'm only building it simply because we have no use of the workers, but for the most part you can pretty much build something else and get better benefits. Anyway, the monument is now just about to complete, and now they polish it up, and you can see here that it is bent in the centre. That's why it is the bent pyramid. I'll just speed this up. So you can see here that they had to bend it inwards because the design that they had built it was too steep. So at the angle it was building at, this would have just collapsed in on itself. So they had to bend it in at the middle point to stop it collapsing in on itself because it was just too steep. So at this point we're just waiting for the masons to do their thing. The more masons you have on this, the quicker this will go, so we can just quickly speed this up to the conclusion very easily. There we go. So you can see here it's actually quite steep, and they perfect it later by making it go up at a much shallower angle. So wider, but shallower, so they don't have the steepness. Anyway, construction of the bent pyramid is finally complete. This is a stupendous achievement for your city. I couldn't say the words probably because it came out a bit weird. There we go, monument done. Now let's just have a marvel of our city. So here we had our bit of our grain installation just to help with our very poor floodplain quads. It stabilised that eventually. Here at the heart of our city, the industry, making all the beer, pottery and linen we can for export. Down here our barley production. Our quarrying settlement over here, didn't really have much use for it. And then of course our housing blocks right here. Looks quite nice, that. So now all we have to do is have a look at our ratings and just see that we need to save the game. And now we can send off 32 blocks of granite prepared earlier. And that is South Dahshur complete. Well, we can just stop importing that granite. There we go. So the South Dahshur is complete. And we built our first bent pyramid, the first and only time that we're going to build a bent pyramid. Sad, I know. No unemployment problems, that's fine. So yeah, we're just going to wait for the end of the month and we will win this mission comfortably. Let us proceed to the end of the mission.
Pharaoh commends you. The bent pyramid you constructed in his honor is magnificent and outshines any monument built in the past.
Of course it does. That shining limestone, that could be seen for miles and miles. So that was South Dahshur, and I hope you enjoyed it. In the next mission we're going to be heading to North Dahshur, and if you want to head to it, you can click on the card on the right of your screen to head there. But for me, Sajuuk, that will be that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video, guys. Bye now.